Hi there everyone! Welcome to another episode of the Weekly Roundup, your go-to for the latest and greatest in data science. This week we're talking about traffic chaos in San Francisco, an AI that can redistribute wealth, and how Meta have teamed up with Wikipedia to help fact-checkers improve references. Make sure you're subscribed so that you never miss another update, and let us know what your favorite story of the week is in the comments. Before we get into the news, I want to announce a fun little initiative we'll be running. Every week we'll include one or more images generated by AI software. Let us know in the comments if you can spot which ones they are. Our first story this week takes a look at the massive traffic jam caused in downtown San Francisco by malfunctioning driverless cars. A few weeks ago, Robotaxi service Cruise was granted permission to charge the riders of its autonomous vehicles for the first time since early trials of its cars began in 2015. This is a really important time for the startup since they need to begin to recoup the billions of dollars spent on research and development in a market that's seeing big, well-capitalized companies like Google and Amazon join the list of service providers. There have been a few instances of malfunctioning cruise vehicles creating problems on San Francisco's roads, with an outage on the 18th of May that saw the company lose connection with its entire fleet for 20 minutes, and other isolated problems with 3 or 4 cars like the June 21st outage. During the outage on the 28th of June, the company lost contact with around 60 cars after their systems disconnected from servers, and blockages of up to 20 cars at a time saw befuddled residents of San Francisco encounter large groups of unmoving cars at intersections. The company says that they have a system designed to pull the cars over to the side of the road in the case of a malfunction, but that this system became inaccessible to remote safety operators thanks to the server-side outage. Would you use an autonomous taxi service? Let us know in the comments. Our next story takes a look at the recent DeepMind experiment in which they tested how fairly an AI could distribute money. The team set up a 4-player game in which players start with different amounts of money and must decide how much to contribute to a pool of public funds. Eventually, they receive a share of those public funds in return. The players also vote on different ways of distributing the public funds in a fair way. The AI, developed by the DeepMind team, was trained on inputs from almost 4,000 real players and various computer simulations. The policies it then created generally tried to reduce wealth disparities between players by redistributing public money according to what percentage of the starting money each player contributed. The AI also discouraged selfish strategies by giving back almost nothing to players unless they contributed approximately half of their starting funds. The AI-devised policy won more votes from human players than either an egalitarian approach of redistributing funds equally regardless of how much each person contributed, or a libertarian approach of handing out funds according to the proportion each person's contribution makes up of the public fund. The researchers noted that the AI took into account the different views of players and tried to come up with a system that most players would find acceptable. In spite of the promising result of the study, however, the team cautioned that their work doesn't represent the recipe for AI government. They say they don't plan to build AI-powered tools for policymaking anytime in the foreseeable future. What do you think? We'd love to hear your thoughts on whether or not AI could or should play a role in public policy. Our final story this week looks at the recent tag team between Meta and Wikipedia that aims to make fact-checking Wikipedia's publicly submitted citations easier for volunteers. One of the big challenges faced by the Wikimedia Foundation, the non-profit that owns Wikipedia, is that because it's an open-sourced submissions-based system, it's often vulnerable to biases and vandalism to the point that even Wikipedia doesn't consider itself a reliable source. With over 17,000 new articles every month, it's understandable that volunteers would be struggling to rigorously fact-check every source. Meta's proposed solution to this problem involves an AI trained on 134 million web pages that can identify and rank possible sources for a statement according to their relevance and accuracy. If a citation appears irrelevant, the system will recommend a better source, alongside a specific passage from that source that supports the claim. A human editor can then review and approve or reject the solution. In the future, Meta hopes to build a comprehensive system that volunteers can use to fact-check submissions on Wikipedia. In the meantime, it's open-sourced the code for this AI to enable developers to use and improve the already impressive system. The research may further fears about automated fact-checking and big tech firms becoming arbiters of truth, but the more optimistic view is that Meta has finally found a way to use its misinformation experience for good. What do you think? That's it for another Roundup. Thanks for watching. We hope you have an amazing week, and we can't wait to see you again next time.